On April 15, 2025, an eerie silence swept through the Boeing factory in Everett, Washington. The usual roar of machines and chatter of workers vanished in an instant. Workers stood frozen beside unfinished jets, tools down, faces anxious. Hours earlier, memos had announced an indefinite halt to all production for Chinese airlines. Massive 737S and 787S, once symbols of global connection, now sat idle, monuments to a sudden rupture in U.S. China relations. For many, this was more than a pause, it was a personal crisis. Generations had built their lives on Boeing's promise of steady work. Now that promise felt shattered. The silence was heavy with fear. Layoffs, lost homes, uncertain futures. Outside, the shock rippled through the community. Local businesses braced for impact. The quiet factory became a stark symbol of a geopolitical conflict made real, marking the start of a crisis that would reshape lives on both sides of the Pacific. The day the machine stopped, global tensions became painfully personal. The silence at Boeing wasn't a technical glitch, it was fallout from a fierce U.S. China trade war. In early 2025, the U.S. imposed a 145% tariff on Chinese goods. China hit back with 125% tariffs on key American exports, including aerospace parts. Then, China enacted a total blockade on U.S. aircraft parts and halted all new Boeing jet deliveries. Over 100 brand new jets worth billions were stranded. Boeing's supply chain severed overnight. The crisis ran deeper than tariffs. A U.S. arms sale to Taiwan led China to sanction Boeing's defense division, erasing the line between commercial and military business. Suddenly, Boeing was seen as an arm of U.S. policy, no longer safe from retaliation. The World Trade Organization warned of an 81% collapse in U.S. China trade, but leaders pressed on. For decades, companies believed business could be separate from politics. April 2025 shattered that illusion. The silent Everett factory became proof. In this new era, business and politics are inseparable. No company, no matter how iconic, is immune to global conflict. The rules of global business had changed overnight. Boeing was caught in the crossfire. Boeing's shutdown sent shockwaves through its vast supply chain. Small manufacturers across America lost their biggest customer overnight. Orders canceled, jobs at risk. Airlines worldwide scrambled, forced to keep older, less efficient planes flying, driving up costs for travelers. Ticket prices rose, routes shrank, and the dream of affordable air travel faded. U.S. families felt the pinch as tariffs drove up prices on everyday goods. American farmers, cut off from Chinese markets, faced plummeting incomes and bankruptcy. In China, airlines faced aircraft shortages and manufacturers paid more for U.S. goods. Even Airbus couldn't fill the gap as it too relied on U.S. parts. The trade war, meant to hurt the other side, inflicted pain on both, proving there are no winners in a deeply connected world. The fallout was global, touching lives everywhere. The silent Boeing factory stands as a crossroads between two futures. One path, de-escalation. U.S. and Chinese leaders step back, reopen talks, and restore trade. Tariffs drop, factories restart, jobs return, and global supply chains heal. Consumers see prices stabilize, airlines get new jets, and economic cooperation tempers political tensions. The other path, permanent decoupling. Trust collapses and the world splits into rival economic blocs. Boeing loses China forever, downsizes and shutters plants, devastating American manufacturing. Global supply chains fragment, costs soar, and choices shrink for everyone. Everyday goods become more expensive and economic competition turns zero-sum. The world grows more unstable, with politics and economics locked in confrontation. The choice between these futures is urgent and defining. Will we rebuild bridges or raise new walls? The answer will shape the world for decades. The silent factory is our warning. The Boeing crisis is more than a corporate story. It's a warning about our fragile, interconnected world. The belief that business could rise above politics has been shattered. Supply chains once seen as unbreakable proved vulnerable overnight. Now, resilience matters more than efficiency. Companies must prepare for political risk, even at higher cost. This marks the end of unchecked globalization and the start of a more uncertain era. The impact is real. Factory workers, farmers, and families everywhere feel the consequences of distant decisions. The link between politics and our daily lives has never been clearer. We can't afford complacency. The global system needs our attention and understanding. The silence in Everett is a wake-up call. The world is changing. What we do next will define our future.